Sky 107.1, Monday to Friday, 3 to 4 o'clock p.m. If we love Liberia, we will be sincere in our dealings with one another. It leaves no stone unturned. It asks the hard questions. It uncovers every secret that's worth uncovering. Liberia's upliftment is its prime objective. The program is nothing to hide. It digs deep into the minds of the guest and brings out the facts. Nothing to hide. It window addresses no issue. It sees no sacred cow. It the nation of the people must not work in 7.1, Monday to Friday, 3 to 4 o'clock p.m. If we love Liberia, we will be sincere in our dealings with one another.
Good afternoon and a pleasant welcome to another interesting edition of the program. Nothing to hide on Sky 107.1. Today is the 25th day of August 2021, just a day after the celebrations of our 174th Flag Day as a nation, a patriotic day at that matter. Welcome. This afternoon, we do not have a live studio guest, but we have a number of issues share with you. Since there's nothing to hide, we're going to be asking questions that will draw attention so that you, the public too, can participate in the conversation. My name is Matthias Labindi. I'll be right back. That's right. You're listening to Nothing to Hide on Sky 107.1. Welcoming you on this interesting edition of the program. And we're here Monday to Friday, 3 to 4 o'clock. Today is the 25th day of August 2021. My name is Matthias Labindi. Welcoming you on this edition of the program. There are a number of things we have to share with you this afternoon. If it's your first time listening to us, we are always live on Sky Communications Liberia Facebook page, as well as on YouTube, Sky FM and TV Liberia. And by the way, for those of you who have been finding it difficult to get us at certain areas, well, you can even get us beyond your location. So we've now extended our coverage. So we are as far as several other counties, more than 5 to 6, 7 counties now in Liberia. So I'm very sure that some of you regular listeners of Sky FM we now start to call on your family member there in Bangabong County and beyond to tune into Sky and listen to the best, that radio has to offer. So, welcoming you on this afternoon on the program, there are a number of things I just have to share, just few things where quickly, very interesting, very touching, talking points this afternoon. First of all, let's begin with health. You know, I've been getting calls, from people who some of those are staff of the institution who spoke to me on anonymity, and they've asked that I flag this issue, not because they ask, but some follow-ups were done. And few people are also interacting with who don't want to be quoted, say exactly, Matthias, this is what happening here at the John F. Kennedy Medical Center. All of us know that when a child is born, the next thing that happens is that, most especially a male child, it happens only with a male child, yeah. So, except for the other side where you have to go through the, our traditional, arrangement, but you have to do circumcision for the child, right? So, few things that people have said, that's happening right now in JFK is affecting a number of people is the issue of wrongful circumcision. I don't know whether you have experienced that. If you haven't, this afternoon on Nothing to Hide, we are lifting it up a little bit. We're going to go beyond this and ask some hard questions, other hard questions. Many people are raising concerns about, wrongful circumcision. Wrong circumcision, by the way, medically, is something that has to do with maybe, not maybe, but when circumcision is done, we know that there's a covering on the flesh of the penis of the kid that is right. A portion of that covering of the penis is removed. But what people are raising concerns about, some of the things that we have heard, that about 4 to 5 kids have fallen prey to wrongful circumcision, where the entire penis is chopped off. Instead of just removing that portion of it, the entire penis is chopped off. Currently, a colleague of mine, not from here, Scar, right? A colleague of mine, media colleague, is taking treatment there at JFK. He himself has experienced that. He's, getting basic information. So I hope that before he gets through the treatment, we can get some basic more information, more details from him. All right. So he's going to play dual roles now, going through the treatment at the same time, doing some investigation there. But this is really bad. Talking about JFK, some weeks back, there has been this concern about, maternal death, infant mortality at the say Women of Hope Clinic, owned by the health minister, Minister Dr. Winajala. That several people, several women, about more than 6 to 7 persons, even the pastor was affected, a pastor's wife was affected by the situation, that kids die upon delivery. So this became a bit alarming. So some concerns were raised. If you check on social media, go back 3 weeks ago, people started raising concerns. How can she be a health minister, but her hospital is having this kind of problem or these kind of problems? Lives are not saved in that area when mothers go to give birth, they experience these things. And by the way, that particular clinic has been one of the best clinics, in the country. Many women trust that area because I know they have some of the best gynecologists in that area that do a lot of things and provide a lot of solutions for health problems. So if the hospital or the clinic is experiencing these kind of situations now, few things that came to my mind. I said to myself, I hope some operators of the clinic are not doing these things intentionally to tarnish the reputation of the health minister. Why is it that immediately she became health minister, it didn't take long, these kind of critical thing and terrible things started happening? Parents, women going to give birth, and they cannot get their babies back. Before you get to know it, the child dies, even before leaving the hospital. What is happening? So we're asking these hard questions. JFK, what is happening? Who are the doctors conducting circumcision there? Is there a problem? Do they have problem with machines and so on? Why are they doing that? If this information is anything to go by, it is something that needs to properly be looked at, because it is a serious situation that, a parent, a father or a mother who is glad that he, that he or she, a parent and a parent and a, part of the parent, by the way, has a child, has a male child, and it's not time for the family to embrace a male child in the family, but the male child is leaving the hospital with a complication, of a medical complication that could affect this child in the long run, in the future. So I think my best advice, my best recommendation is that you doctors there at JFK who are doing that need to pay more attention to what you're doing, pay more attention to your job rather than you, maybe doing other things that are causing problems for you. Let's go to Margibi County. This report about a pastor allegedly raping a 21-year-old pregnant woman is still the most hilarious news I've heard this week. An apostle allegedly raping a 21, apart from the fact that, quote unquote, rape, right? That particular negative one, by the way, rape is brought upon this particular pastor, this clergyman. But the lady, according to the information, she's even pregnant. 21-year-old, she's pregnant. I don't know the size of the pregnancy, but she's pregnant, Pastor. If this is anything to go by, now he's under police custody. If this is anything to go by that a pastor raped a pregnant woman, that pastor needs to be investigated spiritually to see whether this man does not deal in some spiritual things, that this is how he gets his power or so on. Why would even a man, apart from raping, why would any man in your right mind see a pregnant woman and even, express desire, lustful desire for such a woman? I know some guys are like that. Maybe some of you will say, well, she's pregnant, and she gets to like you, but the pregnancy is not yours. How do you feel having something to do with a pregnant woman, that is not yours? And let's put that aside, by the way. That is a different, discussion, by the way. But to think of a man who is believed to be a pastor having something to do with, a pregnant woman, but not something acceptable, right? Not something that she actually wanted to do willingly, according to the information. She was forced, which resulted to rape. Why would such a thing happen? I've been asking myself some questions lately about what is happening in our society. Why are we not giving attention to some of these critical things? Do we have clergy people in this country? Do we have any community called religious community? Be it Christians, Muslims, or so? All right, even the answer is yes. If the answer is yes, Matthias, what are you saying? Does it mean that because they are religious people, so meaning evil would not, exist in our midst? Even the great Israel, there are still evil taking place there. I know someone will just quickly provide such argument. But honestly, when you wake up in the morning and hear these kind of reports and get this kind of information coming up to you as a person, how do you feel? So that is in Margibi. So the other side of that news right now is that the local journalists in that area that have been reporting about this information, some of them, according to the information, are receiving threatening text messages from members of the church, members of the congregation, that the media is tarnishing the reputation of their pastor. But they're not, challenging the police to release their pastor, since the pastor is in police custody. But they are going after journalists who have been highlighting this development. It is through the report of the media, by the way, that this particular man has been, handled by the state. This is sad, extremely sad. Let's move on to, like I said, is a bit of little things, is a bit of everything that we bring on the table this afternoon for you to participate. Let's move on. So I was sharing with you this morning about something that happened at the executive mansion. When I went through the development, when I went through the story, I realized that, Liberia is indeed a country when people are not in office, they tend to see other people as criminals. But when they get in office, they do the stealing, they apply the same criminal act, but in the end, theirs is not criminal act. All right? They don't see theirs as a criminal act because they are the ones doing it. I remember Some of the things that we now see happening in this government happened during the Sali's administration. When something happened with Ellen Cochran, she was flown out of here. Before we got to know it, Ellen Cochran appeared in the United States. Today, a young man named Charles de Gaulle, who allegedly stole some money from Buchanan Port, is in America. The information we got in the public that Charles de Gaulle was turned over to the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission for prosecution. Before we woke up the next morning, Charles de Gaulle surfaced in the United States, writing something on social media that he will come public to expose some other people. His second write-up I read, he said, people have said to him to keep quiet. Who are the people that are asking Charles to keep quiet from exposing other people who took part in this criminal? I am making reference to Charles de Gaulle's situation because similar thing could just take place of Madam Makene El Keita, the project coordinator for the presidential projects at the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs. This lady allegedly got involved into negotiating a bribe of $5 million and it bounced back. Today, there is a news in the public there that the business people, the investors, the potential investors that came into the country have left the country. They now see that Liberia is not a safe place for the investors. One thing I want to say to the government, the investors that came into this country and left, they did not leave because some radio commentators got on the radio and started to say things about the government. They left because operatives of the government went to negotiate bribe. So the government itself is even chasing investors away. Can we agree on that? I know you agree, right? So this time around, contrary to what you people usually say, the media, the way you guys go about analyzing things, this is why people run away from this country. No. This time around, people, the investors from South Africa, the Imperial Investment Limited, did not leave Liberia, did not go back to South Africa because the media reported negative reports. The media did negative report, or political commentators or radio commentators did negative analysis. But the investors left because operatives of the government went negotiating bribe. Now this lady has been suspended. She's now been transferred to the legal advisor to the president for on-war investigation. Are we going to wake up again one morning to hear that Madam Makene El Keita is not in the country? She's in the United States seeking refuge because she's running away from prosecution? When we go around this cycle like this, every time we go around the corruption cycle like this, we can wrap back and ask ourselves some hard questions. Are we ever going to get liberation? Are we ever going to get liberators? Well, that question is $1 million question. Let's look in the CPP. What is happening there? Now the CDC is messing up greatly in so many areas, the economy, health, and social welfare as well. The CDC is messing up greatly. What they have right now is the CPP. For they cannot change, genuine change that Liberians are yearning for, because the CDC came on a mantra of change, but the kind of change that Liberians are seeing are raising concerns about the kind of change that they are seeing. Whether it's a good one, is a bad one, well, Liberians can analyze for themselves. When we read the dailies, when we read the articles, we see that, yes, the economy is performing on this. The economy in this area, in that area, the economy is performing. But I think the performance of the economy is not something that should be analyzed through writings. It should also be analyzed through the people seeing the direct impact, feeling the direct impact of the economy. That somebody down Waterside can go to buy a cup of rice that they used to buy $50. It has now dropped to $30. That is the poor man or the ordinary man's understanding of the performance of the economy. It is not the intellectual's own understanding of the performance of the economy. Because somebody went somewhere and got one award back, and then now they consider themselves as the best among all of the ministers in Africa, the best finance minister, Minister Tue. That does not mean because somebody is giving an award for being or recognized, quote unquote, as the best finance minister, does not mean his country is performing right. in terms of the economy. These kind of things continue to happen. Corrupt acts continue to take place. People don't seem to see any kind of prosecution, genuine prosecution taking place against corrupt officials. What is the I listened to the Solicitor General then when he raised about Costa being extradited to Liberia. But I am not hearing the Solicitor General requesting the return or the unconditional extradition of the former managing director of the Port of Buchanan back to Liberia because of his alleged corrupt act, even though he was turned, but he's not in the USA. So what exactly? So I asked something. Just yesterday we celebrated Flag Day. So if we read that Pledge of Allegiance and we ask ourselves, what exactly is my allegiance? Is it to an individual, to the country? Because if, for example, the Solicitor General had his allegiance to this country, he would have pursued Mr. Charles de Gaulle and bring him back to this country for prosecution. Because this man is clear, he confessed that yes, he stole. But this is Liberia. So as the government is messing up greatly, hurting people, injuring the hearts of many Liberians, making people to lose hope in the government, now the CPP or the opposition in general, as people will expect that the opposition will put its house in order. But the opposition is even messing up than the government. It has not even gotten in power. Let me give you a few examples. Currently in the Liberty Party, there is a serious fight. How many of you listen to, I didn't listen. This morning, my boss asked me, so I usually do that, toward the social media and follow a lot of developments and all of that and come up with, choose the one that we want to discuss and come up with it on the radio. Did you listen to Darius Dillon last night? I said, what, Chief? No. He said, on Spoon Talk. I said, no, Darius Dillon was not on Spoon Talk. I listened partly to Spoon Talk, but I fell asleep. But I don't think Darius Dillon was on Spoon Talk. I said, no. And it was on one, So I checked. I called. Somebody called me, by the way. Said, Matthias, the guy was on this online TV. I listened partly. Some of the comments that Darius Dillon used against Mr. Musa Bility are unfavorable. I have read on social media where some big brothers refer to our generation as an inherent ungrateful generation, that we are ungrateful. But politics aside, right? What Darius Dillon is doing to Mr. Musa Bility as a person, aside from politics, all right, some of the comments he's making, regardless of their political, disagreements and all of that, the way he approaches issues surrounding Musa Bility, it speaks to the level his man that sponsored his campaign, provided him support. Musa Bility did so. So if Darius Dillon during the campaign process was because of the transaction, the hierarchies of the Liberty Party were about to do with the business they were about to do with the party, setting the party the Musa Bility, that is understandable. But if it was just based on the fact that, well, Musa, man, I need support, my man, right now I don't have money, I think Darius Dillon should be a little bit, careful and remorseful as well when he's addressing Mr. Musa Bility. But anyway, that's politics. Musa Bility is a BM. Musa Bility is a crook. Paraphrasing some of his words, Musa Bility is dates. Musa is that. But Liberty Party, it's a little the party fini now. Because you people look at a crook, according to Mr. Dillon, and made him chairman of the party. On the other hand, in the same party, Madam Yombly Kanga Lawrence is writing to the National Elections Commission complaining that people have tempered our constitution, and NEC can't loan out. NEC say, look, woman, don't disturb us. Go back to your party. You people have a structure there, how to handle issues internally. And she ran back to the party. I don't know how they're handling it now. Still in the same Liberty Party, another young man is saying to Musa Bility, you Mandingo man, and all of that. Politics is also playing in the Liberty Party. Folks, when we put all these things together, you know the point I'm driving at? I'm driving at the point of a group of people who consider themselves as opposition and are projecting themselves as people who have the solution to liberate these people as confused people. Very confused because they do not know where to start from, how to start. Let's continue with the CPP, by the way. Let's go to the All Liberian Party. The All Liberian Party political leader said, somebody temper. Listen, my people, careful now. Moving forward. I'm not saying George Weah should be re-elected. Alternative in the ensuing elections. There could be a better alternative. But we have to be very careful how to watch these people, how to choose wisely, whom to choose, how to choose, why certain people should be chosen to lead this nation. The group of people who call themselves collaborating political parties and they want to liberate this country, they cannot even protect their own documents, their own legal documents. In the Liberty Party, the constitution is tampered with. The CPP in general, another hierarchy of the CPP is saying, no, the framework document is tampered with, even though without giving a trace of the portion of the document that have been tampered with. But Mr. Benana Yure is saying the document is tampered with. On the other hand, Alexander Comey is saying, no, listen, Madam Chairperson, please don't waste your time on serious comments. Don't waste your time. You cannot subject the CPP to investigating something that somebody is not even willing to give us a trace of information, what to lay our hands on, how to investigate, how do we even start the investigation. So on the other hand, Mr. Alexander Cummings is saying, Mr. Benana Yure is just talking loosely because he's not giving us any trace of information where to find this particular thing that he's talking about. But Mr. Alexander Cummings, I want to ask you a question. I thought you people are a team. So since your colleague came up with something, even if you don't want to support what he's saying, was it appropriate to come in public like that and respond to him and say, don't take the mess serious? It speaks to how disorganized the CPP is and how greedy the guys are. The very thing we see today at the Ministry of State, where McKenna L. Keita will negotiate a bribe, reportedly negotiate a bribe, we'll see the same things happening. Some of you in the CPP will even want to claim the country to be yours because of what you think you're doing right now in the collaboration. You think that you're putting more money in it. So when you people come to power, finally, you want to be the one determining who goes at that ministry, Liberians, you're open your eyes, you're wise up. It's very important right now that people start to look at the people to choose after this particular process. After George Weah leaves, after George Weah completes his 6 years, if he's going to be brought in, if you want to deal with the devil that you know, that is up to you at that time. If you want to go for the injury that you have not seen, it's up to you at that time. But with all these things, now stay in the CPP. One of the most senior person in the CPP, Ambassador Joseph Yema Boaka, said, no other person can defeat George Weah except him. But he's not saying that he alone can go just with the Unity Party and defeat George Weah. He still needs the support of other parties within the CPP. But in the CPP, despite the support, despite the collaborative effort of the CPP, Ambassador Boaka is saying no other person in the CPP can unseat George Weah except me. So Ambassador Boaka, in other words, is saying he alone as a person, he has more force than the CPP as a unit. I hope I'm making sense. No other person can unseat George Weah except me. So, okay, let's say to Mr. Alexander Cummings, don't stay in the CPP. Get out. It's just that you people have already signed up to an agreement that I think you guys are politically caged until you can bear it and wait for the 2023 election to pass. If any of you get out of that process, it's going to be difficult for you. So no matter what you guys do, they're going to stay in. The only thing Liberians will not be aware of, they will not be aware of the real intent of their sudden, because before we enter 2022, there will be a sudden change and you'll see a romantic smile on the faces of the people in the CPP as if it's a genuine smile. But it's not going to be a genuine smile. It's going to be a fake smile, just as the way they are bringing themselves in the public. That's the way they're going to hide their true intention to Liberians. No one else can unseat George Weah, except me. So even if the Liberty Party leaves, the All Liberal Party leaves, the Alternative National Congress leaves, Ambassador Joseph Yima Boakai is saying he can unseat George Weah. I thought you people are in a collaboration. The fact that you people are in a collaboration, Ambassador Joseph Yima Boakai, is a manus on the part of the CPP to say, despite the fact that you people are working as a unit. So meaning, in my mind, I thought because it's a unit, meaning even if you took my young brother Baron Brown and say you want to make Baron Brown the standard bearer of the CPP, he can win because of the unit, right? Even if you took anybody from the CPP, Alexander Cummings, Mr. Benona Ure, Madam Yomle Kanga Lawrence, because it's a unit, I believe because of that unit, I expected Ambassador Boakai to say to us that whoever gets on the CPP ticket can defeat George Weah. But to say that no other person can unseat George Weah except me, it speaks to the level of how these people really want to run this country. As they are struggling with thoughts to even protect their documents, who goes into their quiet places and coffers and steal documents from there and doctor the documents, and suddenly somebody come out and say the document is Dr. Liberty Party struggling to renew her constitution. It's still struggling with a constitution issue. The CPP is struggling with a framework. I've not heard. I don't know whether the CPP chairperson has made any statement officially regarding this particular thing. I've not heard anything. Let's go back to the Liberty Party a little bit. There is a miscalculation of leadership that's also taking place in the Liberty Party. Madam Yomle Kanga Lawrence is struggling to lead the Liberty Party, is struggling to take administrative decisions in the Liberty Party. Few analysis I've listened to. Wow. It was really, really disappointing that I listened to these analyses and I followed a decision that Madam Yomle Kanga Lawrence took. LP. She set up her own committee when there is already a committee within the Liberty Party to handle these kind of crises. All right? To handle these kind of crises. But she set up a committee. The very committee she set up brought into it some of the members of the existing constituted committee that is clear with the responsibility to handle matters arising from the party. What does that mean? Doesn't it show that there's a document before Madam Yomle Kanga Lawrence that she's now reading, or probably she has read, but has forgotten a few lines and decided to take decision outside of the Constitution? So who else can I bring? Mr. Benana Ure is not saying anything. He barely says anything, except for the latest statement that he made through his communication. In his statement, he wrote like a militant from the University of Liberia that will write and include harsh words, because I believe in my generation, all right, many of us feel that the only way we get to be understood, we get to be heard, until we include harsh statements in our communications. We use the same jargons, the same diction in his communication to the chairperson of the CPP. When you look at all the things happening in the CPP and you take a pause, compare the corruption that's taking place in the government. As for Ambassador George Weah, he has disappointed a number of people. So when I hear him, when I see the president taking decision, suspending this person, constituting a committee, I wake up as a young, passionate journalist and get on the radio and talk about these things, not because I'm hoping that something good is going to come out of it. No, but it's because I'm a journalist. I must talk these things. But I don't expect any major decision to be taken. A decision to suspend, that's not enough. A decision to prosecute and make people restitute is what we look forward to seeing from our leaders. That a young man sitting in Dole community who is in Mavisone does not have good chairs, who doesn't sit on good chairs to write, to copy his lesson, can wake up in the morning and goes back to school. The next time he goes to school, he should meet, if possible, an electronic blackboard in a classroom, because that's a public school. It belongs to the government. It should be fully funded. But with all these corrupt acts taking place, you get to see that the direction of the people of this country now has to be guided But those of us on the radio, sadly, in the media too, is divided. So you see, political journalism is one of the things that affects the people, that disturb them in taking any sound decision. Because, for example, I said on the radio, maybe I believe in Ambassador Joseph Yima Boakai. So whether Mr. Boakai is bad in leadership, like Mr. Henry Costa today, who is putting his head, oh my God, this nation, who is putting his head on the line, that Ambassador Boakai is the best man, dealing with comments on the other side. But a couple of months ago, I thought Costa said, or years ago, I thought this man said the old man was running a wicked ticket, a squanderer, and all of that, failed politician. What changed? What has changed about Ambassador Boakai suddenly? That is the reason why, as a young journalist, I don't think it's a wise thing for me to give my loyalty, instead of my loyalty to my profession, give my loyalty to a politician or political institution. It doesn't make sense to me, because you don't trust these people. They are two-faced individuals. They are two-faced people. They come and smile when they need you. They call you the other one. And so when you spare masses and you get rid of the M, use that word. When you spare masses, M-A-S-S, what? When you spare that word, when you spread that word, remove the M. The other word that you're going to see after you extract the M is how politicians describe you and I, because we give them the authority. With all these things said, have you sat down for a moment and find the direction that you're going to take comes 2023? Because we have to now start to make your hearts sober, that you remember, that you know exactly what you're going to be voting for, that you know exactly whom to give this country to again. Should you give it to a corrupt person? Should you give it to this current dispensation of people? Who are they? Are they trusted? Oh, these are the people that you said they're from the grassroots. Some of them are living large. They come back and romanticize the interaction. Everything is just a small screen. They pretend like, well, everything is okay, but it's not. They don't have to tell you that everything is okay. You know that everything is not okay. But anyway, this is Liberia. Let me say good afternoon to you, Jackson. Jackson Nagaye, C. Patrick, D. E. Harris, Mr. Martin, William Brown. Let me say good afternoon to all of you. Thanks for joining the program this afternoon. Let's have a conversation. We have a few minutes, So just start to bring these things up a little bit. I know when you sit down sometime, you think about these things. Ellington, there was serious corruption. George Weah could not prosecute Ellen Johnson Sirleaf because I saw this thing coming. I knew it. The first criminal thing that George Weah and Jefferson Koji put together is that scholarship scheme that was launched in 2018 fundraiser. It was at that program that President Weah auctioned or banjo his Ballon d'Or. Today, how many of you know the status of that particular scholarship scheme that Mr. Jefferson Koji said he was launching to ensure that he helped ordinary people? When you are in government, right now, as a journalist, if I call for some kind of program, as I'm struggling now to set up my library, at least a legacy project, if I call for support now, not many people will be trooping to support me. But if I were just a minister and call for such a support, I say, my people, I want to open a library that at least young people can come and read. I have a number of books. I still need more books. Come and support the project. Not many people will want to come. If I'm a government, people will come. If I'm a government official, people will come. So Jefferson Koji being a mayor of the city of Monrovia and the president of the Republic of Liberia, creating such a program to solicit funds to ensure that people get support. Young people, people who cannot afford. Where is that particular scholarship fund that was generated? So the stealing started a long time ago. President Weah himself is participating in the stealing. That's the reason why he cannot prosecute Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. That's the reason why, since a man who is morally bankrupt, per character and everything, Councillor Ndubisi Wambudike, since he submitted that particular report, the first committee the president set up when he became president, the first committee he set up a committee to investigate Nokar. I remind you people, that committee concluded its investigation and provided recommendation to the president. Has he acted on any of the recommendations? He will never act because he himself, his hands, his 2 hands, including his feet, everything in a cookie's jar. Let's have a conversation. Call us now on the numbers 0777777 Somebody called me yesterday and asked, Matthias, what do you get? Do you get good pay? I say, my man, when I get home, I eat my dry rice, I feel comfortable. The good thing about this profession is when you have a space to speak truth to power. The only thing, do not tell lies. Let's hear from this person. Good afternoon.
Dad, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah, this is John T. Power, New York.
Mr. Pele, sorry, we missed each other this morning. We had a little technical issue, but we came on very late. Go ahead, sir.
Now, with the issue of JFK, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe that the institution is responsible. Let me give you a short experience, right? There's this guy that working with Redemption. He was my brother-in-law. We were going to do a circumcision one morning. He said, John, let's go. I joined him. During the process, he asked me, should I call this? I said, yeah, call it. I have no experience with circumcision. He asked me a question, who is a nurse at Redemption? I said, call it. And when he caught it, the next day they had to take the child to Redemption for further treatment because it was terrible, right? Now, the institution, individuals go and contact individuals at the institution believing that they can perform such operations and go ahead, right? So we cannot blame the institution for what is happening. Now, the Minister of Health run an institution that when a good thing happens, no one reported to the press.
Yeah.
Exactly. Someone dies at the hospital without any proof that there was foul play. People run with it. I don't think that's fair to her. I think if you have proof that things went the wrong way, why don't they go to the court and clear that proof there? But to damage the institution, that is what I'm like a patient before, and look at professional time, they are well trained. But in the process of operation, we should not forget things actually do happen. It doesn't mean that it was done by the hospital or staff the hospital. We are human beings. People die at hospital, so we cannot blame them.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pele. Let's move on to another person. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Call us in the numbers 077777107, 07777221223, 077777107, 07777221223 are the numbers you can call us on to participate on the program this afternoon. You are listening to Nothing to Hide. Absolutely nothing to hide, because we have nothing to fear. Amos Songo is saying, wow, Matthias is going full throttle these days, nothing to hold back. Well, brother, Jackson said he will never act at all. And Mountain William Brown says, Matthias, the government should understand that every time investors come and leave disappointingly, they carry the news to their colleagues who might also want to invest. It is a serious problem for our country. Let's hear from this person. Good afternoon.
Yeah, Matthias, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. Let's hear you.
Well, this is my very first time to call on this kind of show. And it pricks me this afternoon when I heard about a pastor around the Magdalene belt.
Yeah.
Who went out with a pregnant girl.
What's your name, sir, please?
I'm Mr. Jeremiah Willie.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Calling from the National Archives.
Thank you.
And I want to know, Matthias, do you know that pastor's name and the name of the church?
Yeah, quickly, just stay on the line. While you're making your point, let me get the details. Go ahead, make your point.
And so, if that pastor is under the custody of the Liberian National Police, and whatever communication that his members are sending out as a threat, let me let you know. The Bible says, or in the book of Isaiah chapter 59, he said that now that my hands are short that I cannot reach to you, not that my eyes are closed that I cannot see you, but the reason why I have gone far from you is because of your iniquities, because of your evil. That pastor needs to be raided. In the street of Monrovia, a pastor who ought to be a shepherd,
I tell you,
a father will go that route. And the reason why, Matthias, let me say it today, the reason why the nation is going this way, because let me just say it today, I'm in ministry, I'm a pastor as well.
Okay.
And it's that because we who are pastors, we are responsible for the calamity in our nation today. Because we are not saying the truth. We are not serving as leader. We are not serving as life. A pastor who ought to tell the nation or wrongs. Here we are going this route.
Mm.
Do you think the nation can survive in such a situation?
Well, this is Liberia.
That pastor in the church.
Thank you so much. Keep listening. I already have the detail. Thanks. Let's hear from you. Two callers on the numbers 07777 Hello. Yes, sir.
How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you. Let's hear you.
This is Alfred. I just give a session to the issue surrounding the pastor.
Okay.
Listen to you when you give out the story. And you earlier mentioned that it's alleged, implying other side is being investigated, and the facts will come out. You can never hold the pastor around who is claiming that she was raped. So we must give everybody the benefit of the doubt. In this case, when you already said it was alleged, you were virtually taking side, concluding that the pastor has committed the act, which was absolutely wrong.
How so? How so? How so?
Claiming falsely.
How so, sir?
Yeah.
How am I taking side? Just
because you already concluded on the issue when you deliberate there. In your expose, you explain that how can pastor do this? He therefore guilty, which is not the case. It's alleged. The letter could be lied, give the investigation of the process. And if you say alleged, as a professional journalist, when I listen to you, I think you should balance your explanation. That the letter could either be wrong for any reason that's known. You know that it happens in our society. Anybody can falsely come out and say anything against anybody because I'm not backing out of side. But since the issue has gone out, let's give the investigation a process. Many people also trust the pastor. Many people also trust the lady. So we can't say that, other party is wrong. Sir,
okay, thank you. Thanks for your contribution, sir. I think a few things I've said. Well, since in fact, let's hear from this other person. All right. Thanks for your contribution on the program this afternoon, sir. Well, according to the information, now I made mention of the fact that we're journalists in the area, according to the Global News Network this morning, are reporting that several members of the church, some unknown people or believed to be members of the church, are sending text messages threatening them for reporting the development. All right. So whether it's alleged now, because until the investigation can be concluded, well, we cannot conclude definitively and say, yes, the pastor did it. But even with the allegation hovering over such a person, one would wonder, why would a pastor want to do such a thing? I think it is from that direction I'm asking such a question, but not definitively saying that he's not guilty based on my analysis. Thank you, sir. Let's hear from this person. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Matthias.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, main listener.
Let's hear you.
Thank you. My name is Sai Kumar, and I join National Conversation from Ghana.
Let's hear you, sir.
I'm listening carefully to you. First thing, that's our issue of the Liberty Party. I think it's a certain sexual Nigerians have decided to believe in a collaborative institution, and the other party was one of the constitution of the party was wanting to go this way. Because we listen to Senator Dillon and listen to the chairman, I think you make it burn the thing twice. Because if you say this senator who recently elected somebody, he said things to call being crook and mango man, then what expecting other partisans to do as a leader? In fact, may I say to you, the constitution of the other party are informing us only we can do and then we go for executive meeting, executive desire to support. And as a supporter for political affairs, when I fight against support for somebody, recently when he heard from Nigeria candidate, what the party chairman, what the Ghana councillor when he declared his support for ANC, I think they don't all got on radio to suspend him in fact experiment. Recently, and I got was suspended for the Liberty Party. And yesterday, you are around, was suspend somebody for the act at DDC Act. So we are calling the Liberty Party also to apply a CD to him. Because if somebody is only taking action against the person, and today you don't want to act action, I think it's unfortunate. We know that if you can't buy you do the same thing. Thank you very much, Mataya.
Thanks for your contribution. Word to the elder that called in and asked. The apostle is Apostle Franklin Snowton. He's from the Philadelphia Church, in the Margibi County there. So that's the name of the pastor, and his church is the Philadelphia Church in Kakata, Margibi County. And the young lady who he allegedly raped is 21-year-old and is believed to be pregnant. Currently, he's undergoing investigation under police custody, but the journalists in that area, Mr. Emmanuel Dega, president of the Margibi Journalists Association, is reporting that several local journalists in the area are receiving text messages of threats from people who are believed to be members of his church or who are supporters of this pastor in question for reporting the story. So deductively, many things can be drawn from the actions of people. If I know that my relative or friend is not guilty of something, I don't see a reason why I'll be fighting when I believe in the rule of law of the country. So as we gradually wrap up, we can take two more calls on the program this afternoon. We highlighted a number of things. It should make anyone to sit down and think about and take a sober reflection, retrospect on the position we are at right now, whether it's going to be a wise thing to take this country again from this stage, from where it is now, from the hands that is in, and transfer it to another hands. That is, the CPP. Are they a group of people ready to lead this nation? How ready are they? How sincere are they? What's their level of sincerity? That one can say, well, these people are ready and they're about to transform this country for these reasons. I can give my support to the CPP. Let's squeeze in the last person and conclude on the program this morning. For this reason, I can give my support to this person. If you look at the folks in the ANC, they're saying no. Joseph Boake, don't waste our time. You're too greedy for power. Let's hear from this person. If you look at the other group of people, you also hear that they'll say, well, Ambassador Boake is the best person. But with all these arguments, for one to say I am the only person that has the ability to unseat George Weah, it speaks volume. Let's hear from this other person. Lastly, good afternoon.
Matthias, I call for the second time. This is Mr. Willie.
Yeah, Mr. Willie, please.
Okay, thank you for the name that have been given. Let me come politically small. The good Bible says if a man cannot control his home, how can he lead a nation? We are yearning for a good governance in this country. And people who are in political parties and just holding party positions cannot in the way as a party leader. You're talking about a nation gambling with your own party constitution overnight, Nicodemously. Then you're talking about a nation who could be sleeping one night. We have different people taking over our country because it has been sold overnight. And so I'm appealing to these leaders who are in political parties and political positions. We are begging them, please.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. We have to go, and that's all the time we have for today's edition of the program. Nothing to Hide on Sky 107.1. We welcome you every time. Be our guest. Join us here Monday to Friday, 3 to 4 o'clock. Better still, you can join us in the morning, Monday to Friday as well, 7 to 9 o'clock. So we present two programs here, by the way, straight from the heart. It runs from 7 to 9, Nothing to Hide. It runs from 3 to 4. My name is Matthias Labindi. Have a wonderful, wonderful working Wednesday.
Evacuated more than 70,000 people, including their citizens, NATO personnel, and Afghans at risk since August 14th. That's the day before the Taliban swept into the capital, Kabul, to bring an end to the 20-year foreign military presence.